Weird.
What the fuck are you doing, Danny?
Trying to put this thing up.
Danny, you're fucking squeaking the fucking shit out of me.
Need some WD-40, man.
Why is it doing that? I was gonna leave a message, you fucking idiot. Welcome to the Mouthpiece, episode 9, year 1. Today we're going to talk about, well, my poker episode last night, the up-and-coming World Series of Poker. Me selling 50% of myself on YouStake.com, along with an amazing interview with Matt Glantz, who talks about the upcoming World Series of Poker, along with who he feels is the leading Democrat for the Democrat nomination. Here on the Mouthpiece. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the Mouthpiece. Today we're going to talk about, yesterday there was a big game going at the Aria. It started as a 2-400 mix, went to 3-600 mix, went to 400-800 mix. Phil Helmuth, my man, he invited me to dinner. I went to dinner, and he said he'd stake me in this game. So we get there. There's no seats open. Eventually, a seat opened, and my good friend Phil, who was drinking a little bit, says, I want to take the seat. All right, Phil, you take the seat. I'll wait for somebody else to get it. So Phil gets in, and we're having a good time, showing everybody Blockers for Dummy videos that haven't seen it. It was pretty funny. They were all laughing their ass off. Everybody was drinking. This game was off the chain. And at the time, it was 3-600. So I'm on the sidelines, like salivating, because Phil was going to stick me in the game. And I'm like, God, this game is so good. I mean, the pain sitting on the sideline waiting to get in this game was painful. So finally, Elia Lesra gets up at about 1:15 a.m. After 2 hours sitting on the sideline, so I get a seat. I jump in the game. I basically sit down with 10,000, which this isn't much for a 4-800 game, but you know, it's I appreciate Phil giving me a shot, especially in a 4-800 game. And things have been, tough for me, as I've talked about in the past. So we get down to about 2,500, win a pot, win another pot, win another pot. Next thing you know, I got like 15 or 16,000 in front of me. It was pretty confident. I was playing really, really, really good. Then came this hand where I just check called number 3 and deuce 7 triple draw, and everybody couldn't even believe I check called. I said out loud, I shouldn't even call here, and I made it on the end, just because of the way the betting went. I let out the first draw when I made a deuce 3 6 7 draw. He raised in the 2-hole. And that made me think he was drawing smooth. So when I called and another 2 people called, I brick on the second draw. He bets. Other guy calls. I call. I draw 1. He stands pat. Now, I'm really, really worried here that he made a good 7, because I, from the draw, threw 8-9 away and kept 7 deuce 3. So with him having a 7 draw, that means the other guy in there had an 8 draw, which only leaves 2 8s in the deck. Now, he could have made an 8, but I didn't like it. So now I catch a 6 on the end. So I made a 5 on the end. I make deuce 3, 5, 6, 7. I check, he bets. The other guy calls. I said, God, I hate calling here. I said, I think I'm drawing dead. And I call, and he showed a wheel, and everybody's like, oh, how could you just call there? I would have lost so much more money. I go, that's why I'm Mike Madison, and you all are fucking idiots. But, of course, I've talked about it many times. I didn't get financially crippled because of my poker playing. I got financially crippled because of my injury, basically, and my sports betting over the years. But I recovered from that. It just sucks that I had this injury. But the good news was I ended up playing 4 hours, pain-free, all night, no pain even in my foot, which was, to me, a very, very positive thing that came out of it. But anyways, I got back to 15,000. I get dealt ace, 4, 5, 7 Badoogie. And if for you out there don't know what Badoogie is, that's 4 different suits. Best hand is 1, 2, 3, 4 different suits. But a 7-5 is probably going to win 9 out of 10 times. It gets raised, call a raise. I 3-bet, call. One guy takes 1. Guy Hanks in the middle takes 2. And I'm Pat. Check, I bet. Other guy calls. Hanks checks raised after drawing 2. I 3-bet it. The other guy goes out. Hanks 4-bets it. I call. He pats. I pat. Now, he could have a 7. The chances of him drawing 2 to a perfect, wheel or a 6 are kind of doubtful. He also could have, he could have started ace deuce and hit a 3 and an 8. He bets. I call. He bets the river. I said to him, damn, Hanks, because Hanks respects me. He knows that I got a pretty big hand. And I call, and I said, he goes 7. I said, 7 what? Because I got a good one. And, of course, he had 7-5 deuce 3, and I had 7-5 for ace. That was the big pot that I lost. I lost, let's see, we lose 16, about 5,000 in that pot. So that means he called the raise with like deuce 3 and drew 2. I don't think I've ever done that before. I always have to have like ace deuce or ace 3 to draw 2, but what do I know? Anyways, that was bad. That was really, really, really rough. So then the next hand, he raises again in Badoogie. I looked down. I got 1, 2, 4, 9 Badoogie made. I 3-bet it. I said, who lost the last one? He calls. He draws 1. I know he's drawn pretty smooth. I pat. Check. I bet. I go, I don't think you're going to beat this one, buddy. He goes, well, I hate to tell you, Mike, I just did. And he check raises me. Now, he's usually really honest with me. We're pretty tight. But I have a feeling that he thought I was kind of weak, and he might have made a 10 or even a bad 9. I should have 3-bet him right there. And then if he 4-bets me, now I know for sure I'm beat. But instead I just called the check raise, broke the 9, and drew to the 1, 2, 4. And I drew a nothing across spade. I was 33% for a wheel. But I think maybe I should have probably 4-bet him when he check raised me and said, I beat you again, Mike. Kind of rushed to it. So now I lose this hand, and now I got about 4,000 left in front of me. Then I got to about 3,600 after a couple of antes off in stud 8 or better. I'm the bring in with a 3. Everybody folds to him with a 7. Up, he raises it. I re-raise him. I have 2 aces in the hole. He calls. He open pair 7s. I open pair 3s, and it looks like when I 3-bet him when he raised with a 7 that I probably got like ace deuce 3 suited or ace for 3, 4 suited. So when the pairs 3s and he pairs 7s, he's going to bet every time. So he bets, I call. 5th street, I catch a 4. He catches like I don't know, a baby card, and he bets, and I raise, and he re-raises me all in, and he says I have 3 7s. I said, really? And now I catch a deuce, so my board is ace, 3, 3, deuce 4. So, I scoop with an ace, I scoop with a 3, I scoop with a 5, and I get half with a 6, 7, or 8. and it's about a $8,700 pot. And I hit a 4 across 9 of spades, and I went broke after 4 hours. But, I lasted 4 hours on, on 10,000 in a 4 and 800 game. Got down to 3, built up to 15,000, and just ran pretty bad. I thought for not playing for almost 2 months, I was like seeing through the cards. Now, this happens to me a lot when I take time off. So I've been telling people for a long time, I recommend when they run bad for a long time to, when they come back, it's amazing how you see through the cards and every decision. Like even the hand that I check called and I wanted to fold with 7-6, 5 deuce 3 and triple draw, I just knew I was beat. It's just so bizarre. Like even the 7-5 I had in Badoogie, I wanted to fold. I just felt my gut told me I was beaten. Oh, you can't fold that, Mike. What are you talking about? And I'm just like I always talk about basic math. They all talk about no limit and bullshit. And I'm like, I was born with a sense, an extra sense. And when I could look at somebody or I feel something, it's always right. And my gut told me in that, even when I had the 7-5 in the Badoogie, that I was beat. But, you just can't fold a 7. They are right. You can't really fold a 7-5, a good 7-5 in Badoogie. But my gut told me I was beat there. My gut told me I was beat on the hand in the triple draw hand. And, I thought I played great. And that's all you can really do. And, 10,000 is, 10, 11, 12 big bets. So it's not that much. It's like a peanut in a 4 and 800 game. So I was happy for the opportunity, and I could have played more. He would have put me in more. I just felt after 3 hours of playing, one of the guys in the game who was kind of the live ones said he's only going to play like another 20 minutes. And I just didn't want to, get buried for Phil. So I said, listen, if I can't win with aces up and aces and threes and a wheel draw any part of the pot, it's probably not my night. So I actually quit, and even though I was kind of down on the way home, I was also kind of happy. I felt I played really good, and the most important part of it is I was paying 3. So with that in mind, for all you out there that don't know, I am selling 50% of myself on YouStake.com. I feel that I'm going to have a big World Series. The last 2 years, people don't even realize it. So if you want, you can look up the stats yourself. I have played 37 events. I have cashed 15 with 5 final tables, including 3 10K final tables, 4 10K final tables, and I got 14th in the triple draw last year, where I was 3-1 chip lead on the field with 16 to go. And then I drew the 4-handed tables, and the other 2 had the 5-handed tables with 14 to go. I'm sorry. And I made like 8-7, 8-6, 8-5, and lost every single hand. And somehow I went from 3-1 chip leader to out 14th last year. So it was pretty kind of depressing, especially after finishing 6th the year before. I really had my eyes set on going farther in that tournament. But for all you out there, go to YouStake.com and buy pieces of me in these 10Ks. I'm putting up half. I'm selling half. Financially, I'm not in the greatest shape, but I am determined to win a bracelet this year. And there hasn't been anybody really that's probably had back-to-back years without winning a bracelet as big as I've had the last 2 years, and that's with me being in severe pain. So check out my packages. I gave out a fan appreciation package to all my 1500s. I sold 10%. I think they're already sold out, unfortunately. I sold 10% of my 1500s. I did sell I'm selling like 20% or 30% of my 25s or 3000s just for the fans also. But it's important that I get in these 10Ks and I sell half myself. So most of them are marked up around 1.3, a couple are 1.2. The ones I marked up at 1.5 are the Omaha 8 or better because I believe that I deserve a 25% free roll in the Omaha 8 or better. I've only made 17 Omaha 8 or better final tables at the World Series, and I also marked the PLO 8 up at 1.5. The rest are 1.3 or 1.2. I think I made the stud 8 or better 1.4. I made 3 final tables in that, including winning that in 2013. So that's it. You know, most people consider me the best split game player in the world, and I believe in my heart that I am, and that's why I marked those up a little bit. So check out my packages, buy some pieces, and sweat me at the World Series. And all I could say is I promise you all that I will win you all money this year. I truly, truly believe deep in my heart I'm going to win a bracelet this year, maybe 2. I don't want to get cocky, but I've been so close the last 2 years. I mean, even 2 years ago when I made 3 10K final tables, something I had never done in my life, and then I finished 11th in the 50K. I got so unlucky. I was actually chip leader of that with 4 tables to go and never won a hand for like 4 hours. But I will be putting up pieces of the 50K. If things go well the first couple weeks of the World Series for me and I'm about even, I'm probably going to buy 20% of myself in the 50K and maybe 25, I'm not sure, and sell the rest at 1.2 probably, if I'm having a good World Series. So that's isn't listed up there now. I don't know if they put the main event. I am selling 40% of myself in the main event. I don't want to sell any of myself in the main event, but because people buy pieces of me with all the other 10Ks, I want to make sure that they have a shot in the main event, which is always the juiciest tournament of the entire year. So with that in mind, stay tuned for Matt Glantz. He'll be coming up shortly.
The Mouthpiece.
If you'd like to take part in our phone call segment, you can give us a call at 702-329-0480. And if you're a snowflake or a pussy and you don't want to talk to me, you can email me at mouthpiecepodcast@gmail.com. Also, follow me at the Mouth Matiso on Twitter for times that our call-in segment will be live.
Okay, my favorite part of the show. Let's hear some phone calls this week from some of my fans. Welcome to the Mouthpiece. This is Mike.
Mike.
Whoa, who's this?
Yo.
Who's this?
Hey, it's Brandon from Wyoming, America.
Oh, that's a good place to be from. The Grand Tetons from Wyoming, or Jackson Hole,
Yeah.
Wyoming. I just used to,
Yeah.
I love that. You know, go ski in Jackson Hole. It used to be amazing. Good place. What's going on, man?
Hey, I'm just playing an online tournament right now. I saw your tweet. I didn't even know you had a podcast.
Well, now you do.
That makes me really excited because I just started a poker podcast this past year with my buddy.
Mm-hmm.
It's tiny. It's brandonthefish.com.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm playing this tournament online right now.
All right.
Crushing it.
All right.
And I'm a tiny stakes poker player, but
So,
it's big time for me, buddy.
we'll fucking win the motherfucker.
That's what I'm talking about.
Come on, man. Let me get you jacked up. Win that motherfucker. Win that motherfucker. There you go.
Matt, a motherfucking South.
That's right. Now you got it. Not only do I have my podcast, but I have my video vlogs coming out, and I'll be doing video vlogs from the World Series of Poker, the entire World Series of Poker. So those are going to be very funny to watch.
I'm a big fan of podcasts, and I think you're perfect for it. I love this. I'm subscribing today.
They've been amazing. I mean, I don't know which one's better than the first one, the second one, the third one. I mean, the Mike Sexton interview was incredible. Billy Baxter interview was incredible. With Phil Hellmuth was priceless. So I mean, they've been great, and check them out. Give me a good rating. Tell me what you think, and
call in next time we're taking some phone calls. Say hello.
Yeah, I will for sure, buddy. I'm glad you have a podcast, and I'm definitely tuning in.
You got it, man. Take care.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Yo, welcome to the Mouthpiece. This is Mike.
Hey, what's going on, Mike?
Yeah, who's this?
Dan from Brooklyn, New York.
All right.
I wanted to ask you, but I see you tweet a lot about like politics and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about Facebook banning
I think it's
Alex Jones and a lot of the right wing?
I'm going to be honest with you. I said it in 2016 after the election, and I saw it coming because they were shadow banning me. And I was telling poker players that I was being shadow. They're like, "Oh, you're full of shit. You ain't being shadow banned." And sure enough, I knew I was. And I said, "Listen, they are going to make sure Trump won the election through social media, and they are going to make sure they will silence everybody that has a right-wing following and isn't a liberal. And if they end up doing that, and if he loses the election, there is going to be war on the streets. And I really believe that. So it's disgusting. You know?
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's I saw it coming because, like, I don't know if you watched Tucker Carlson last Friday. He laid out the exact same thing. They're not just coming for Alex Jones or Yaelin Yiannopoulos. They're coming for you and me. They're coming for all of us because anybody who has a following that could they've already banned 80% of right-wing media that reached 1.8 billion impressions. Now, do you think if 1.8 billion have already been suppressed, that even though Trump's a stone lock to win 2020, that he's gonna? I mean, if you can't get your voice out and everything you see on Facebook and Twitter and the news is all left-wing and you can't fight back, how's Trump going to win? People are just going to believe what they see, what they hear. You know?
Exactly. I agree with you.
That's pretty bad.
I'm a big fan, man. I enjoy the podcast a lot. All right. It was good talking to you.
I appreciate it. Thanks for calling in, man. Tell all your friends.
All right.
Peace.
All right. Bye.
The Mouthpiece.
Welcome back to the Mouthpiece. Today's guest is a good friend of mine and a pretty good poker player. He's got a lot of World Series poker bracelets. How many? 0. And he'll be looking to change that this summer. How's it going, Matt?
What up, Mouthpiece?
What up, buddy? How's it going? You excited for the World Series?
The truth? Not really.
Yeah.
I think I get less excited every year.
Yeah, well, that's not a good sign. Last year you played mostly cash, right?
Yeah, I mostly play cash, and when the games aren't good, then I'll go over to the Rio and play whatever's available. But I do try to play all the 10K mixed game events.
That's not good. You got to, if you're not excited, you can't win tournaments unless you want to be there. You know that. And
I don't know. 5-10 years ago, it seemed like it was more exciting every time to go out, and I guess you see the same people every summer, and you get sick of people, whatever, and you know how it is. It becomes monotonous.
I kind of like the 10K mixed games because it kind of reminds me of the days at the Horseshoe where it was like a big family get together and you get, it's the same people. So you get to make fun of people. And one thing people out there don't know you might be a bigger ball buster than me. I think you are. And,
yeah, totally agree. When we play the 10Ks, it's kind of fun. It is more like a family atmosphere, and everybody knows each other, so it makes it fun that way. I agree with you there.
I just like busting balls and talking shit. I know you like to do it, and then in the no limit events, you really can't do that. You want to make people have a fun atmosphere, and you want to treat them good, and so you can't really do that. But I kind of enjoy that.
It's true. In high stakes mixed games, I always felt part of my job was being an entertainer.
Right, me too.
And you can do that in the high stakes mixed games. But imagine trying to do that in a high stakes no limit game or a pillow game. people want to concentrate. People want to put their head down, tank, and figure out what's going on. So it doesn't really work well. Same thing with no limit tournaments. But in the high stakes mixed game tournaments, you can do a little bit of that too. So everybody knows my annex and your annex. We have a good time when we're together.
Right. Absolutely. And I do agree with Daniel where it comes to people don't want to just have people at tables with headsets on, a hoodie on, sunglasses that don't say a word, which I agree. But you have to, try and be friendly and be fun at the table. But like you said, no limit hold'em requires so much more focus than like the mixed games. You agree there, right?
Yeah, because you could lose your whole stack. You're everything you bought in for the day in no limit in any hand. But when you're playing a mixed game, you're playing limited bets style. So, if you lose one hand, it's not the end of the world. You could win the next hand and get all your money back, and it kind of makes the atmosphere a lot more fun, and people are willing to joke around and have a good time.
Right. We pretty much know everyone. Maybe the ones we don't, after about 10 minutes, we pretty much get an idea how they play, and so we can have a lot more fun there. And mixed games, even though I do believe it requires more skill than no limit hold'em, it is a game that in the different games, once you've pretty much mastered them, which I feel both of us have, it's kind of like riding a bike. Would you agree there?
Well, everything about both of us mastering those games. I haven't mastered any games, but you're a lot more accomplished than me. You've won a lot of bracelets. You're Mike Matasso, but me, I'm just I'm a grinder, average poker player. Pretty decent in each game, but not even close to mastering any game. So I'll always strive to get better.
Well, that's good. I wish I could put the time in to strive to get better. I mean, a lot of these people are, they play 12-hour days, 7 days a week, but I don't know. I just, with what I've gone through, my injuries and stuff, it's kind of hard for me to put the hours in now, but I try my best to play my best all the time. It's pretty much all you can do,
it's interesting you say that. A lot of poker players felt from day one of poker that it's their job to, get better at the game and the skills, the game theory optimal side of the game,
right?
The skill sets involved, and that was always part of my focus. But I learned early on, and I'm talking I guess I started playing poker full-time in 2004, and I think I learned early on, probably 2005, that part of being a professional poker player is being an entertainer, and really wanting the recreational players to want to play with you.
Right.
So that was always a big focus for me, as much as the fundamentals of the game.
Absolutely.
And that has really served me well. I've been playing in a lot of private and semi-private games for years. I think there's a lot of pros that hate playing with me,
right? And
for good reason. I don't give them a hard time a lot of times, but I can't think of one recreational player that doesn't really enjoy playing with me. I get phone calls all the time, get on text group chats, and they just enjoy playing with me, and there's a reason. I mean, I just try to be a gentleman and try to have fun, and I know they're there for enjoyment. They're not there. They're not professionals. I'm not there trying to make a living, so they're there for entertainment. If you understand that, it goes a long way in the poker world.
I agree. I'm able to play in a lot of home games that 99% of pros wouldn't be allowed because of the fact that I make them laugh and I put a smile on their face. Even though they know I play tight, I also, I bust balls against like a JRB, or I just try and put a smile and make people laugh, and I could get away with getting into some private games, even though I don't give that much action, where most people that get put in private games or get in, they got to be an action type player. So, that's
you also have a big advantage over someone like me because you're a big time celebrity, top, whatever, I don't know, top 5, top 10, top 20 poker celebrity. So people want you in those private games. They want to be able to tell their friends, Mike Matasso's coming over. It's a big draw for any game. So, that's a big draw for you.
I never really realized that till I played in a charity poker event last Friday, and they were like in awe, like, oh, I only dreamed of playing with Mike Matusow, and that this is the greatest day of my life. And I was having so much fun with them, and I didn't really realize how much it meant to some people until that tournament. You know, I try and make things as best as I can. I mean, you've known me for a long time. You know, I got a heart of gold, and I care about everybody. So, you know, that's I just try my best. You know,
it's funny. I remember meeting you probably 2005 and thinking, "Wow, this is Mike Matusow, you know, famous guy, famous poker player, pretty cool to meet him, whatever." And you were like the friendliest guy. You know, he treated me like we were just two guys, you know, talking to shit at a poker table, and you always made everyone feel really comfortable, and I admire that about you.
Thanks.
And it was really like a sobering experience. You know, I knew a lot of pros back then, but a lot of guys, I don't want to mention names, but there were a lot of guys who we're both friends with now that were dicks to me or sort of condescending when they didn't know who I was, or, you know, I wasn't playing the highest stakes at that time. And,
right.
You know, I don't get any of that now, but I remember how it was then. It was really, it was a humbling experience to me. And you know, it was fun. And then, you know, we got to be good friends probably a year or two later. And,
right.
You know, I realized you're a jerk off just like me. So, you know,
Exactly.
we got a relationship with that.
I am a jerk off like you. You know, I tell people all the time I love playing with Matt, and I like when he busts balls. I said the only thing I say is I'm like, the only difference between me and you is like when we're playing 400 and 800 and they get 20,000 loser, I back off. You never back. You never back off. I think that's the only thing I wish you know, the guy's a good friend. You play with him every day. Guy's 20, 25 loser, back off. Not you. You just fucking go deeper at him, but that's okay.
Sure.
I mean,
I have a policy. If a winning player, a professional poker player, is stuck their balls, say they're stuck 50,000 in some point in the game,
right.
and I can come up with a comment that's going to make a recreational player laugh. Even if the recreational player is winning 50,000, I don't really care, and I don't really care about the pro. All I'm doing there is trying to be an entertainer, and all I want.
I'm the same way. I back off at about the 25 to 30,000. I'm like, well, you know, he's a nice guy. I don't want to. But before that, like the first 20,000, I'm like, me and you are at the table, and they misplay a hand or something. We'll be like, oh, you were just unlucky.
Yeah, I don't pass it. I don't pass up on any opportunity. But in my defense, I do get it just as much back, and I never ever get upset when someone's dealing with me. So I understand that it comes with the territory.
Believe me, there's. I don't think there's anyone more fun to needle than you because you dish it out so much. So
exactly.
It's kind of like little shit. I mean, nobody, for people out there don't know who that is. That's what's Ryan's last name?
Ryan Miller. He's a ton of fun. Almost every pro can't stand him, especially in Vegas.
Oh my God, they hate him
more than anyone. But he's different than me. He dishes out to everyone. Recreational player, pro. He doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So it's a little different. I think it's just who he is, and he can't help it. And whatever.
Yeah.
He gets in good games. And he's a very successful poker player.
Yeah, when he's in the 4 and 8 games, I don't mind it. But when he jumps into like a 1 and he came into our 1 and 200 game or 8160 game, we had been playing for like, I don't know, me and Crazy Mike, and for like 24 hours, whatever it was, and we told him when he sat down that if you have 3 strikes, if you run your mouth about somebody misplaying a hand, you get 1 strike. If you say something about a hand, you get 2. Because we didn't want to hear it. We've been playing forever.
Right.
And so he says, okay. And he got 3 strikes in like 15 minutes and broke the game. And it really sucked because he's just an idiot. But anyway, so I just got a text from Todd Anderson. He wants to do a Poker Night in America reunion from our first episode, and I thought it was a good.
I got that text, Bill. That sounds amazing. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I came up with the idea that we leave an empty chair with like a poster of Gavin in memory of Gavin. He's like, oh, I didn't even think of that. It's a great idea, Mike. So he says that's a great idea. He wants to do that. And so we'll look forward to doing that in August. You know, you're one of the very few poker players that is not a left-wing lunatic when it comes to politics, because you kind of understand what's going on. Me and you, I might be a little bit more right than you are, but you understand it and you kind of get it. This show is mostly poker, but we are going to talk politics like once a month, and especially with I can't believe how crazy it's getting already with the 2020 elections, like almost a year and a half away, and it's already getting nasty. You can go ahead and tell my listeners, who you like, and then we can talk about things from there. Well,
I am very left-leaning, liberal in also almost all social policies. Mm-hmm. Last election in the primaries, mm-hmm. I was pretty pumped about Donald Trump beating all the right-wing Republicans and getting in there and trying to shake things up and kind of, cleaning up the swamp, the things that he sort of was portraying that was going to be his vision as far as just mm-hmm. breaking up the system, the monopoly we've had of Bush Clinton back and forth, and that kind of the old school system going on. So I was pretty much convinced that he was going to be the right man for the job. After he won the primary, I bet a lot of money on him to win the primary, so I did well there.
Right.
But when he was running, it became clear that he was kind of pandering too much to the religious right, which I didn't like. I'm really not in favor of any kind of organized religion. I really don't. It makes you feel uncomfortable, that kind of stuff. And it was clear that he was going to appoint right-leaning justices to the Supreme Court. And that kind of drew the line for me. So even though I really despised the thought of Hillary Clinton becoming president, mm-hmm. I voted for her only because of the Supreme Court. And I really want social-leaning justices to be put on the court. And that's really because I have 2 teenage kids. And I want them to grow up in a better world. And I really don't think that we can have that with conservative judges going forward.
Right.
So that really is always going to be my main focus, no matter who's nominated on either side. I'm going to be voting Democrats just because of the Supreme Court.
Interesting. That's all kind of like politics. It's kind of like, you've gone on and say you like Mayor Pete to get the nomination on the left, and he has to pander to the left. I mean, he made a statement, he's for impeaching Trump, but that's only, I know he's not actually for it because he has to lean with the left-leaning base, and that's just when you run as a Democrat you have to do. The right's going to come out and bash him just like the left comes out and bashes Trump, but somewhere in between, what kind of the truth is. I mean, how evil our media is, and it's something I want to talk to you more about, to our listeners, a lot of pokerers that don't understand how sick our media really is. Why don't you give them an idea?
Well, it seems like the entire media has turned into a clickbait 2018, 2019 media, whereas 10 years ago we didn't have that. So papers or reporters could have their own opinions or genuine opinions and have equal footing versus somebody else's genuine opinion. But in today's world, it seems impossible. If a reporter gives a genuine opinion and it's sort of moderate and sort of fair, kind of in the middle, mm-hmm. it's not going to get much play. They're not going to really have a job. They're not going to really get promoted or get that kind of clout.
And this is
if a reporter goes far right or far left, they're going to have an audience. Right. So it creates a dynamic where it's impossible to get sort of I don't know if it's the fairest information or the cleanest information, but you're going to get we're all exposed to extremes on both sides.
Exactly.
And it creates a huge problem in the media, and that's when when Donald Trump says the media is unfair, or the left says the Fox is unfair, it's all the same thing. And you hear people say it's a false, what's the word for it? A false equivalency.
Or fake news or whatever. And it kind of is fake news. Listen, unfortunately, because, I was bedridden for a long time, I was kind of like stuck at home either watching sports or politics. So I would watch Fox, and the only thing I watch on Fox now is Tucker Carlson. I don't watch any of the other extreme right. It's just too much for me. But I also watch Cuomo on CNN, and that's about it, because I think they're about the two most centered, even though Cuomo's left and Tucker's on the right. But it's unbelievable that you see a story and then you turn on, let's say it's a positive story for Trump, and you turn on left-wing media and they completely spin it into something outrageously anti-Trump. And then you see a story that say that is truthfully negative Trump, and you see the right-wing media spin it like, oh, well, that's not actually what happened, and then they try to spin it into a positive Trump. It's just so bad when just what they say. I mean, just like, what's going on now. I mean, the guy writes a manifesto saying he attacked the Jews at the synagogue in San Diego because Trump is pro-Israel and I hate Jews. You would think, so what does the left-wing media do? They spin it into Trump supporting white nationalism and he's anti-Jew, which is complete false and fake news. Why don't they just tell the truth that what the guy said in his manifesto?
Here's the thing, Mike, and people need to understand this. The way I like to look at things like this is why is it happening?
Right.
And you have to understand that it's not some kind of evil network from the left trying to make this far left liberal news dominate TV or the newspapers. And it's also not some kind of far right religious group scheming to do the same thing. What it is, it's the nature of business, the nature of capitalism, and because of the internet, because of social media, it just pays the bills to go that way. So when you're running a company and the more clicks you're getting are directly in relation to how far left leaning your articles are, you're going to keep going more and more left.
Correct.
And the same thing on the right side. So it doesn't pay to kind of dissect the news fairly, because people aren't going to click on it.
Well, that's what's
the money is not there. So it's not some kind of evil network on either side trying to make this the situation. It's just it's the nature of the beast.
No.
And you need to fix the underlying capitalism problem. I actually think Mayor Pete touches on this, not necessarily with the media, but he talks about capitalism without democracy. And that's sort of what the media situation is right now in the United States.
Yeah. And, news media has always been about reporting the actual news. And now, let's be honest. CNN, MSNBC is just an arm for the Democratic Party. It's just like Fox is an arm for the GOP. And I just think that this country could truly, in our lifetime, which I never thought I'd ever say this, could be at civil war in not so distant future because of media-driven lies on both sides. Would you think that what I'm saying is crazy?
So it sounds crazy now, but maybe it won't be crazy in 2 years. Look how much we've changed in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. That's why I like Mayor Pete so much. He's a uniter, not a divider. Mm-hmm. And every Republican Trump is on the Republican side, but every other Democratic candidate, maybe except Andrew Yang, who's sort of like Mayor Pete in this regard, but every other candidate is pretty much a divider and not a uniter. They don't want to hear from the other side. They just want to keep vilifying the other side and keep going more and more left. And I don't think that's the way you want to go in the future. It's just going to be bring more of the same, sort of put everything in reverse for the next 4 years. But you bring in someone like, I would love to see, there's no one I'd like to see more than Mayor Pete with a nomination for the Democratic side and even have Andrew Yang as his running mate. And those two young guys, I just can giggle myself seeing those two young guys on the campaign trail versus Trump and Pence. It would be just a joy to see those guys debate, the older guys kind of run around and put on rallies. It would be so funny to see how they run circles around Trump and Pence. Well, whether you agree with the right policies, Trump policies, or not, to have these two real smart guys, young, smart, energetic guys against two old guys, very old school, conservative guys, it would be really a treat to see.
See, now I'm also I'm touching on what you just said about capitalists, and it's all about money, and which is why I'm on the record saying this. In the next year and a half, there's going to be so much divide. Everybody, it's going to be it's probably going to be bloodier than Trump Clinton, and that was really bloody. And I just say this to people, okay? When you said it's all about the money, I believe that the left is going to push a candidate that can't beat Trump because they need Trump in office to make money. He makes them about $1 billion a month just in revenue by them talking shit about him. And if he's out of office, I mean, who are they going to talk about? And that's crazy. I know that sounds like a real crazy conspiracy thought, but when Trump says, "Oh, I'm not worried about losing 2020. They need me in office. I'm worth too much money to them," I think he's telling the truth.
That is crazy talk. But I mean, I see what your point is. What you're saying. But the reality of it is the people. It's not money for the people. You're talking about money for certain networks or for certain newspapers, which do have some, maybe, there's certain individuals that have divisive intentions due to that. But here's the way I look at it. Sort of to your point, there could be the most divisiveness in the next year and a half, 2 years. So let's say we nominate Elizabeth Warren and she goes up against Trump. Now you're looking at max divisiveness in the country. Right. Just max mayhem, exactly what you're talking about. Well, if you put up somebody like Andrew Yang or Mayor Pete, who really don't want to go after the other side, they really just want to improve the country by putting new ideas to work and sort of figuring things out as we go along to get to the place we want to be. Mm-hmm. That's like minimum divisiveness. And you run, let's say you run Mayor Pete versus Trump. It might be divisiveness from Trump, and it's going to cost them, but Mayor Pete's not going to go down that route.
I think Trump knows, because Pete is a gay man, and I know that shouldn't make a difference, but he will be he will not go as hard on a Mayor Pete than he would on anyone else, especially the crazy leftists that are running. I've told you this more than once, and I'm on the record to say the only one I would vote for would be Tulsi Gabbard. I really like her. She's very unifying. She comes out right after the Mueller report and said, we should all be happy that our president didn't collude with Russia, instead of all being upset about the report coming out that he didn't collude with Russia, and that we should put it behind us and try and move the country forward. That's the thing, is as much as you like Mayor Pete, and I like him too, don't get me wrong, what do you think the Democrats, what policies do they have that's going to move the country forward? That's the important thing that needs to be reached to people. Okay,
let me correct you on one thing, and then I'll answer your question.
Sure.
Let me correct you on one thing about, you said Mayor Pete said he wants to impeach Trump. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's true. I've listened.
I don't either, but I heard him. He did say it, but I just believe that he just says it because he has to give some meat to the base. That's all.
I've heard him say several times that he would like to see him voted out in the ballot box, and that's how you move the country forward and go forward.
But
I did heard him say that He
on
just
the
wants to impeach Trump.
On the town hall he was on, they asked him about it. Do you think Trump should be impeached? And he says,
okay.
Yeah, he did.
Well, I actually agree. I think he deserves to be impeached.
For what?
Because he runs the government like he's a mob boss.
Oh, he runs the country like it's a business. And
no, he runs it like he's a mob boss. But there's no consequences for anything he does, and he can't continue to do that. But saying that I think he deserves to be impeached. I don't think it's best for the country for him to get impeached.
Well, that's the thing.
It's best for the Democrats to run on him getting impeached at this state. I think it just hurts them. So I think the best way to do it is just to vote him out of office and just sort of try to unify the country and move forward with progressive policies, but really just try to bring everyone together and just vote him out of office.
Listen, I'm still pro-Trump, but there's a lot of things that really upset me about Trump. I mean, I really believed that when he got in office, he'd be much more presidential. I thought he had way bigger chance of bringing the country together than Hillary did. And I still believe that. I mean, she's out there just saying crazy shit to the day. So I'll never apologize for taking Trump over Hillary ever, because she's just an evil person. I could understand people on the left being offended by a lot of the things he said. If I was left leaning, I would be just incensed by half the things he says. So, I do understand that, but I also understand that the more they attack Trump and lie, the stronger they make his base. If they didn't figure that out by 2016, you would think they would figure it out now. What's your opinion on that?
I mean, that's obvious, but I don't think they can help themselves.
Yeah, they can't.
It's just human nature.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I believe that he deserves to get impeached. I do not want him to get impeached, if that makes sense. But let me answer your question. You asked what policies in the left do I really like.
Yeah.
So, the most important policy for 2020 is probably going to be healthcare. Mm-hmm. Where everyone's saying Medicare for all, that kind of stuff. I think every Democratic candidate is saying Medicare for all, except for Pete. You know what Pete's saying? Because Pete's a thinker. He has solutions. Mm-hmm. Pete's saying he wants to move towards a single-payer healthcare system, but that's in the long run. He proposes implementing a public option on the Obamacare marketplace first.
Right. And
he calls this not Medicare for all, but Medicare for all who want it. Okay? And
right.
what that means is he's going to make it as an option on the Obamacare marketplace. So anyone can choose it, anyone who wants to, but there's still going to be private insurers. People can choose that. And what his theory is if we do a good enough job as a government in healthcare, then eventually everyone's going to choose Medicare for all who want it, and then there won't be any need for private insurance in the future. So basically he's putting the onus on the government, saying we have to do a better job than the private sector. And if we can do that, then we'll get our single-payer healthcare system.
Yeah.
How can you argue against that? How can anyone not see that he's just a forward thinker and wants to solve problems rather than just have a slogan? Most of these candidates are just sloganeering, putting out these plans that aren't solutions, and it's just good marketing techniques.
Well, I think Medicare for all will destroy the country. I mean, me being a person that's been sick for the last 4 years, and I get an MRI every 6 months. I have to go to a pain doctor every month. I've been through hell and back. I know what it takes for a private insurance company just to approve of, let's say, an MRI or an X-ray, or you have to get approval, right? If the government ran it, I would be paralyzed right now, because it would probably take 3 months to approve it, and my father would be dead right now. He needed a heart surgery immediately, and they'd have just waited till he died to not pay for it. So, I talked to the doctors, and they're just like, the thought they deal with the insurance companies and how hard it is. The thought of them having to deal with the government is it's painful. People don't realize, a lot of people out there don't understand that, Obamacare, when he put the individual mandate on it, which were forcing people to pay to not have that was unconstitutional. And you can't force people to pay into a government-run health care if they don't want to. I just happened to say to Daniel, like, because he was pushing signing up for Obamacare. I go, Daniel, do you have Obamacare? I'm like, how much do you pay a month? I go, I pay $954 a month for my insurance right now. And he's like, I don't know, my assistant pays for it. And I'm just like, well, there you go. You're pushing a healthcare thing that you don't even know for private businesses, that after 27 days, they would have to pay for government-run healthcare. So they'd hire people at the 27th day, they just fire them. It was the biggest job killer in the United States. I would rather see them, hey, you want Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, you pay into it if you want it. If you don't want it, you get your private health care, which is kind of what you were kind of saying about Mayor Pete was saying. If
Sounds
you
like
want
you
it.
agree 100% with Mayor Pete.
Right. So that's just how I lean. I also, lean like as far as guns go. I'm an anti-gun person, but I understand people with the Second Amendment. I believe that everybody should have the right to own a pistol and a shotgun if they want to hunt. Of course, I'm anti-hunting, but that's just the way I am. But they can't go out and think they're going to take people's guns that have, AR-15s or whatever they have in their gun closet, and that's just not going to fly.
Those are just slogans. That's what I'm telling you. Those aren't plans. When Swalwell or Warren says they're not well thought out plans. They're slogans. They're getting votes, and they don't really have any kind of solutions with regards to those situations. And that's what pretty much what Mayor Pete says. He says, look, I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the solutions, but let's figure it out. Let's figure them out together. Let's not pin ourselves down to Medicare for all as the end all, or ban all guns, or let look at Beto. Beto made the biggest mistake when he was about a month ago
with the wall.
When he said not only do I want to not build any of Trump's walls, but I want to tear the walls down we currently have on the border.
I know.
And, that's obviously just pandering, trying to sloganeer.
And it was political
trying
suicide.
To put out there to get votes. It makes no sense whatsoever. And ever since then, he's been kind of a joke.
Right.
So
yeah,
they make these kind of comments because they're kind of fighting with each other to go farther and farther left.
Right.
And they're not really reaching for solutions. They're reaching for validity among the far left.
Right.
And hopefully that doesn't take shape. Hopefully someone like Yang or Buttigieg gets in there.
I think Biden can beat Trump, but I don't know. But I know this. He's everything that all the Bushes and the Clintons stood for. And when you see social media or you see the CNNs or the Foxes, they're always pushing the fringe on the right or the fringe on the left. And 80% of the country is nowhere near what they're pushing on the media.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about Biden. Biden, to me, he's the front runner right now, but he doesn't. He's a very good guy, nice guy, a great guy. Everyone likes him.
Right.
But he's not. He doesn't inspire anyone. He's an old guy. He's kind of just there. He's not really inspiring people.
I agree.
The last two elections, so Obama won the nomination because he inspired people. Then Trump won his nomination because he inspired people on the other side. And it's probably going to be someone who inspires people on the left.
Yeah.
Warren, Sanders both inspire people. Yang and Mayor Pete both inspire people. I'm not sure if anyone else on the left inspires people, but those four candidates are one of them is probably going to be the nominee because you have to inspire people. You have to inspire them to want to go out and vote and support you.
Well, that's the thing about Trump. I mean, Trump went out, whether you believe it or not, and he inspired people. He got people believing in whether you like his politics or not. I mean, he really is a great politician for somebody that never was a politician, and he knows how to push the right buttons. But the only one I'm really anti was Beto and Sanders, and Sanders because he's a socialist. I mean, he's telling all these kids free college when as well as I know there's nobody getting free fucking college. It's just not going to happen. It's unrealistic, just like the Green New Deal is unrealistic. And I want to see the people on the left push forward policies to drive the country forward that are realistic, not out of the box. And that's why I really like Howard Schultz. I don't understand why Howard Schultz doesn't want to run as a Democrat, why he wants to run as an independent. I talked to Congressman Billy Long from Missouri. He's a GOP, and he's good friends with Howard Schultz. He thinks that Howard Schultz would have a great shot to win the election. So, he's
not interested in associating with the tactics of the left, or the right for that matter. But he's not really interested in that. He's just trying to put out a platform that what he thinks the country needs or wants and move forward. And the fact that many Democrats tell him they shouldn't run is ridiculous. For anybody to tell anybody they shouldn't run is ridiculous. If you don't think some other guy should run because his policies or make them more attractive to people than your policies, then change your policies.
Yeah.
But don't tell the guy not to run.
Exactly. And we live in a capitalist country. I wouldn't have made the money I made in poker. You wouldn't have made the money you made in poker if we didn't live in a capitalist country. I mean, where in the world could you have no money one day and be a millionaire the next? You know what I mean? I like to joke around with the people in the high roller circuit when they win like I win a tournament for 10 or 12 or 13 million. I'm going to go, how are you going to like it when the government wants to take 70%? And then if you live in New York or California, that's state tax. So it's 84%. When they take 84% of your 13 million, are you going to like that policy? Because it's just unrealistic. It's just crazy talk.
Sounds like you like Mayor Pete, because the other thing you just brought up 5 minutes ago was that the free college thing, and he's against free college.
Yeah, I told my girl that because she had said that he was for that. I'm like, no, he never said that.
I have a feeling you're going to be supporting Mayor Pete before the next election.
Well, I will if Tulsi Gabbard doesn't get any traction or Howard Schultz doesn't. I mean, there's 100%. There is nobody on the left that I would vote for except for Mayor Pete. I mean, I'm dead honest, and it ain't because you like him and I'm pandering to you as a friend.
Not.
I'm being dead honest. I could never support crazy left-wing insanity policies that could never come to fruition. People are like think that I'm like crazy right-wing. I'm not. I'm just not crazy right-wing. I don't want government in my life. I want capitalism. I want to be able to make money,
I'm just listening to one of your crazy rants.
Oh, yeah.
So I was talking about not being crazy. No,
yeah, well, I you know how I am and everything. Yeah. I tell people all the time, I got more involved in politics because I go, blame Matt Glantz. And they go, I like to say it because I'm like, I'll never forget when you texted me and you said, this Negreanu's lost his mind. He's calling Trump Hitler, and he's going to kill everyone and destroy the world. And he's like, you got to put him in his place. You got a bunch of followers. And I was just like, and I didn't know nothing about politics. I'm like, okay. So I just pushed back on it. I had no idea that politics was a divisive bloodbath. And if you think different than anybody else, it's going to make somebody hate you, or the whole poker world like fucking hate you because your views on policy are different. Like, I mean, I thought you were even more centered. I didn't know you were far, like you were left leaning. But it's good. It's good to hear that you are. I like listening to people that have opposing views than me, because then that you could sit, we could talk, we could debate issues. And the problem with our country now is there is no debating issues. It's like, if you disagree with me, go fuck yourself. It's just craziness. Right.
Mike, I'm very aligned with the progressive left in policy,
right?
But very unaligned with the progressive left on tactics.
Correct.
I despise and I don't ever want to be associated with the tactics. I think it's terrible.
Right.
It's disgusting, and it rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
And in defense of Daniel, what you were talking about before,
yeah,
he wasn't the only poker players saying that Trump was Hitler.
Right.
There was a lot of poker players right before the election that saying Trump was Hitler.
Right.
And I remember at the time, even though I was voting for Hillary, there's no way you could, in your right mind, you could kind of equate Trump or Trump's presidency to anything that Hitler did.
Right, and I tell people,
crazy talk.
I tell people this all the time. It's like, as someone like me who's Jewish, and I'm not religious Jew, but I practice. You know, I mean, I'm not a good Jew, but I'm an average Jew. You know, and you know, and when people go out and they start saying Hitler, what they're doing is they're discouraging of what Hitler did, and they're trying to rub it under the mat. Like, people, you know, what Hitler did is the most insane thing that was ever done in the history of the world. And when you start equating like a guy like Trump to Hitler, it's like ridiculous. And it's just so funny. Like, Trump's a racist. Trump ain't a racist. He just says things harsh. He says things, you know, like he doesn't think before he talks, but he's not fucking racist, please. I mean, you could say
Trump is a mob boss who can't see the perspective from anyone else's side. He's a child. He's petulant.
I agree.
He's all these things, but it's so far from Hitler.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say Trump's a good guy anyway. He's a real bad guy.
Listen, I have no problem saying that Trump's probably a piece of shit, because all politicians are a piece of shit. That's just the way I look at it. Anyways, so you work, you represent what, Sugar House, is it called?
No, not anymore. I spent 3 years from 2012 to 15 with Parks Casino. Right. That's outside of Philly, and then I spent from after that 2015 to the end of last year, 2018, with Rush Street Gaming, which owned Poker Night America. That's where most people know me from. Right. And 4 casinos in New York, Chicago, Philly, and Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay. And, so you're not doing anything right now, huh?
I did not renew after 2018.
Okay.
So I am just playing poker now, kind of sort of like semi-retired.
Oh, I like that. And how are your kids doing? Good? We're getting big?
Good. 2 healthy, thriving teenagers. I'm very, very fortunate.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's real good to hear. All right. Well, Matt.
I just want to say I love the Mouthpiece.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
And I wish you the best. I see your podcast is killing it.
Yeah.
You keep moving up the ranks. I know anything you'll do, you'll be successful in. So I really, I'm glad I'm one of your first guests in the Mouthpiece, and always remember that. And hopefully a year down the road, I'll be on again.
Listen, I appreciate it, and I respect anybody who has a left-leaning view at all times on politics. I want to hear what they have to say. The thought process of somebody not being my friend over a political view is unbelievable. I couldn't even. I mean, would you have ever thought? I mean, let's even that your policies are left. Could you have ever thought ever in this country that if somebody wore a "Make America Great Again" hat, that they could be attacked as being racist because they're pro-Trump? I mean, that happens every day.
Absurd.
It's absurd.
Completely absurd.
But
let's end on a happy note and look forward to August, having the reunion of the first ever Poker in America.
Yeah.
That's where you made the show famous, and I think you also made Sean Dean famous on that one. Where he slow rolled you with quad fives.
Yeah.
When he winked at me and I knew it was up, that was one of the best moments in poker. So let's look forward to rehashing that in August.
All right, Matt. Well, it's really good talking to you. It's been great conversation, and I appreciate you coming on the Mouthpiece, and can't wait to talk to you and catch up at the World Series.
See you in a month, buddy.
You got it, buddy. Take care. Bye.
The Mouthpiece.
I hope you all enjoyed episode 9 and look forward to special episode 10, which is going to be tomorrow, which will be all the phone calls that were called in for my giveaway, where I gave away 1% of my 10K buy-ins this year at the World Series. And if you called in, you know how much fun we had. We'll see you next week on the Mouthpiece.